Hey, welcome back to Mirror Expressions, you all. A channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all. And I invite y'all to come on in and do the same thing with me, right? Y'all already know what I'm going to say. Hit that thumbs up button. Let's run these likes up, baby. Let's run them up. Subscribe to the channel if you are already not a member or subscriber. Please do so, and just welcome to the channel. Like, don't be afraid. Come on in the house, be yourself, take off your shoes, do what you want to do, get comfortable, and let's talk. You hear? All right. But before I do, one thing I do want to know, like, how is everybody doing? Y'all know me. Like, if you are doing fantabulous, go ahead and drop me a mirror emoji in the chat. Because, baby, you need to look in that mirror every day and say, I am beautifully created and I am wonderfully made. And I am happy for all things that are coming and happening in my life right now. All right? All right. And then, as always, guys, if you are not in that space where you are just happy with yourself and where you are, do what you must to get back to a healthier version of yourself, right? Right. Okay. Let's go on, just hop into it, okay? So, we are part 2 of this reunion. Y'all, we pick right back up where we left out last week with Shaquille. Kevin had just asked him, does he have any regrets about saying no to Kirsten? And I already said he did, and that's what he said. He was just like, yeah, he has regrets. And I'm thinking, like, everybody sees that you do. Everybody, like Kevin, there really was not a question that needed to be asked. We already know. Like, so this is what I've been thinking, y'all. I've been thinking about how Shaquille had all those reasons last week, right? About why he said no to Kirsten. And he finally settled on, well, I didn't think I was good enough for her, right? That was kind of like the last thing he just settled upon after he done ran through this whole list of reasons. And I think that's very probable that is the real reason. And I think that was probably also why it was one of the last things he said, because he didn't really want to admit that that was how he was feeling, like that he was inadequate. You know, it had nothing to do with her. Like, she had asked him, I think it was the last episode before the reunion when they met up at the park to talk. And she asked him, well, what is it? Because I know it couldn't all have been me. Like, what was it on your end? And I think that's what it was. It was his insecurities. He felt inadequate. And instead of voicing that, he just went to the extreme and was like, no, I'm not going to continue that. We all know, well, I'm not going to say we know, but, you know, it's kind of has been put out there that Kirsten is supposedly out of his league. I'm just gonna say supposedly, because who gets to say who's out of whose league? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, having that, you couple that with his own insecurities, and I can totally see that. Like, and I think that people making comments like Pastor Cal did, like when he did say no, and Pastor Cal was like, Shaquille will never get better than that. Like, making comments like that, I think that just kind of feeds his insecurity. Like, it feeds him that, yeah, he is inadequate. He's not gonna be able to pull somebody like this. She is out of his league. Like, what is he doing? He doesn't know how to handle that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they end up bringing out their mothers. Baby, y'all, they are trying everything. They are throwing everything at these people but the kitchen sink to get them back together. Do you hear me? So both of the moms come out. They said they enjoyed seeing the two of them together. They did talk about, like, they addressed, like, why it took Shaquille so long to meet Kirsten's family. And it, like, I think the mother pointed this out, or Kevin maybe did, that it really wasn't about meeting them. It was more so about hanging out with them and spending time. But now with the dad, he didn't meet until later on. But of course, early on, he had already met the mom and the brother. And I think she said she has a sister too. But it was just like him wanting to hang out with them as a family. And her mom did validate those feelings for Shaquille and said that there was no excuse for that not to happen. I mean, of course, time was not on their side, as she said, but at the end, she did say people make time for the things they want to make time for. And that's right. I said that back then. Like, you gonna make time for the things you want to make time for. But what I did notice in that conversation, Shaquille said he just wanted to feel included. Now we're gonna stick a thumbtack in it, right? And why I found that so significant. So he told her that he just really wanted to feel included. Fast forward to this never before seen footage of Kirsten saying, and this is at the group. This is at a group dinner, and she tells the group that she doesn't really want to be seen out with Shaquille because as she said, she's very well known within Nashville and within the Nashville area. And she doesn't want to be seen and be like, oh, this is my husband. And then a month or two later, it's like, where's your husband? Oh, he doesn't exist. You know, she did not want that. Now, hear me out, y'all. Hear me out. I know we say that Shaquille has been acting like a baby. And nah, I can't even go there. Y'all was about to kind of try to negate that, but he still has, like, he's been very whiny. And even though I do kind of get a better understanding of where he is, I still don't feel like there's any excuse for him to be all whiny and needy like he had been. But just looking at the bigger picture, let's just see things from his point. Like, you meet this gorgeous stranger who you just got married to. She doesn't want you to touch her, kiss her, anything. You know, she doesn't want, then you learn she doesn't want to be seen out with you in public. And then she doesn't want you to meet her family, like, i.e. their dad. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think I would have felt very secure with Kirsten. I don't think I would have felt secure in their relationship if I were her and I had to deal with those things like boom, 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 boom. Like, I just don't think that I would have been feeling very secure in knowing that, hey, this person genuinely wants to be with me. And then all of a sudden, everything kind of just changes. Like, this kind of like a whiplash. Like, one moment nothing, and then the next moment you're supposedly in. Like, I wouldn't have trusted that supposedly in either if I had been getting all of that from the jump. Like, I would have been lukewarm too. Like, is this true? Is this how she really is feeling? Are there ulterior motives? Like, I too would have been like that. You know what I'm saying? But I also think that's kind of where that neediness came in. Him being needy, like him needing to feel secure. But I think there was other ways to go about feeding that wanting to be secure feeling versus just being whiny and needed about it. So that's why I say I can't give him a pass on acting like a baby, because baby, all you had to do really was verbalize how you were feeling. And I think that's what it was. That's how he was feeling, but he was not verbalizing things. You know what I'm saying? So it kept him second guessing. So anyway, then I'm going to just assume that he came into this relationship with some insecurities as well. Because look, they couldn't have just popped up in those 2 months, right? So we compound it with his insecurities, and I just think it's very likely that when he's saying that he did not feel like he was enough for her, that was truly what the reason was. I do. I feel like that was the real reason. That's the absolute truth on his end, and he didn't want to say it. But after constantly being pushed, because Kevin was getting with her every time he said something. Well, the prophet told me. Kevin came back. So you let a prophet. Well, the prophet told me I should just do me, be selfish on this big decision. And then it went from there to we couldn't get to where I wanted us to go. Well, where is this where you wanted y'all to go? You know, like it was just one thing after another. And Kevin was on that ass. You know what I'm saying? And I think that when he finally blurted out that, well, I just didn't feel like I was good enough. I think that was the honest truth. But anyway, and back to the comment about spending time with his family, you know, he just said he wanted to be included. And so I think that goes back to his insecurity. Like he didn't feel like he was a part of Kirsten's life or that she wanted him to be a part of his life. So then like little things like not meeting the family or not hanging out with her family, it just wasn't lining up, you know, and it was becoming bigger things because, hey, well, you already said you want to hide me from the public. Are you now hiding me from your family too? You know, I very well can see how his mind would have gone that way because, you know, if somebody said that out in the open, they ain't want to be seen with me. And then, like, all of a sudden, we're not really hanging out with your family. And I get family dynamics are all different. But it would seem like an excuse, one thing after another. Because like the mom said, you make time for the things you want to make time for. I would have thought that, hey, okay, she's trying to hide me from her family too. So, you know, I can kind of see his line of thinking on that. So Kirsten moms, she thinks that their expectations were just too high and that their communication was lacking. And so the both of those components together was the downfall of their marriage. And I agree. Like I think I actually spoke to that on a previous review. So yeah, I definitely agree with her on those things. His mom told Kirsten that, hey, you still my daughter-in-law. And honey, Kirsten was cheesing from ear to ear. You know, she likes to stick the tongue out when she smiles. I said she wants that man. She wants him. Because all of a sudden she became touchy-feely with him, like rub his back and all that. So Kevin ended up convincing them to go out on a dinner date later on and talk about like their possible future, or at least where do they actually want to go, and not like where they sat on that bench and he was like, what, we gonna leave it on this bench? Oh, so anyway, so they decide to go out. Then McKinley and Dominique come out to speak with Kevin Nix, right? They're the last couple to come out. They both kind of admit that they got in their own way when it came to their relationship. Dawn said that she was very specific on her application about wanting a person that lived in Nashville that was settled because she was not moving, right? She said she was not moving away. And for her, she was convinced that McKinley did not want to stay in Nashville. He was not going to stay. And as we see, he did not. I don't think he did either. But McKinley said he really planned to stay in Nashville. And McKinley, I call BS. So Kevin was like, well, did you tell Dawn that you plan to stay in Nashville? Especially knowing that was like her biggest fear. Did you tell her that? He's talking about, I don't know. Maybe I did. McKinley. Oh yeah, I was just like, oh child, these two right here. So they talk about when Dom asked, they go back to the day when Dom asked told Pastor Cal that she wants a divorce, and McKinley said that he was kind of caught off guard with the whole thing. Right, he thought they were just in a place where they were joking about how they didn't get what they wanted in each other, right, and their spouses, right, but that they were gonna ride the wave out into decision day, basically. So he said, you know, he was caught off guard when she said that to Pastor Cal. And her thing was that, well, he said he checked out. I'm checked out. And we're not here for the camera. So why are we continuing to do this? And so she asked for a divorce. She said now she didn't know she was going to do that at the time. But given the situation, once he said he was checked out, and she was like, I am too, so what's up? You know what I'm saying? So that was why she went on and asked for the divorce, right? So Dawn's though point to that as far as like ended the relationship was that, like, if he really wanted it, he would have stopped her, and he wouldn't have let her, or he wouldn't have let things just end so easily, basically, is what she was saying. She wanted him to be aggressive with her, basically. And I'm saying, and when I say aggressive, that's what I mean. Not assertive, but aggressive. Because she talking about she wanted him to be like, shut up. You better go in there and put your bags in that bedroom, put them down. You move it in. You know, she wanted that kind of thing. That toxic kind of love. I was like, oh, Dom, your age is showing. You looking like a whole oxymoron right now, because you looking like an old lady, but you're talking like a child. Oh. Anyway, so then we see never before seen footage of her asking him about, did he tell his family to stop following her on her social media platforms? And he was just like, yeah, so she called him petty Betty. You know, he got that petticoat on. And, oh, y'all, excuse me. I'm just moving the camera. And then, but y'all, this is my thing. What would be the point? Like, there are no ties. You had no opportunity to form a personal relationship with these people. Y'all were together for 11 days. And 11 of those, I mean, what, maybe about 5 to 7 of those days, y'all were at the, on the honeymoon. You know, I'm just saying, like, I've done the same thing. Like, with my siblings, if you're gone from their life, you are gone from mine as well. It is, especially again, if we have not established an independent relationship. You know, like, it's not anything that I would say or tell like my family to do. Like, I wouldn't, because we've had situations like that, and I never have gone to my family to say, do unfollow these people, da 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 da. But, and nobody's ever come to me like that. But just kind of out of respect, like, I'm not down with you over my family. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what am I gaining from just continue to have that interaction with you? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, they talk about Gina and McKinley dating, and Dawn swears she thinks that they would make a great couple. They would be a good match. They both say that they are now dating. She has her little boo-boo, although they are not exclusive yet. Why are you on national TV talking about a boo-boo that y'all are, girl? Anyway, Dawn did say that she has learned how to soften up a bit more, and that as far as McKinley, he said he learns that he needs to communicate better and be more patient, right? So then Gina and McKinley come out next. Yeah, for what? For what? Because they are not a couple. They have not even gone out on a second date. It wasn't anything to see. You know what I'm saying? So when Kevin asked about why there hasn't been a second date, Gina was just like, ask McKinley. And his thing was, well, he hadn't really been in Nashville, but I'm going to be there soon and we could hook up. And Kevin took the words right out of my mouth. Like, what's wrong with right now? Like, what's wrong with later on today? Y'all are both here. Y'all are both in town. Like, why not? Just get together and make a day happen, right? So they end up saying that they would do that or whatever. Yeah, I don't think it's anything between the two of them. Like, I haven't seen any sparks. Like, I think I said this in my last, well, not the last review, but the review where they actually went on that little coffee date. They were just blind. Like, it didn't seem like a spark to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but I didn't see anything. It wasn't palpable. If it was there, it was not coming across the screen like, oh yes, yes, let's really see where these two go. You know what I'm saying? So they end up just discussing how they found out that both of them were interested in each other, how he slid into her DMs, yada yada yada. She also talks about how it's nice seeing McKinley take up for her with the whole Clint making a statement that my type the type of person, a woman that I usually date is more slender. So anyway, after that, all the guys come out next, talk to Kevin. They talk about their bond with one another. Uh, insert. Is that lapel or lapel? Like, how do you say it? Lapel, lapel pin? I don't know. Anyway, I noticed that Eris has on. Is that the artist formerly known as Prince? Like, oh, and like my eyesight is terrible, y'all. I ain't gonna even lie, but that's what it looks like. I said, okay, I see you representing for the Purple Rain, Eris. I see you, boo. So anyway, again, they kind of just talk about having sex. I don't know why that was such a big thing, but yeah, they talk about that. Eric said he did not have sex with Jasmine out of respect for her, right? Because he already knew that he didn't like her and he didn't want to give her for like false hope or have sex just kind of misconstrue things, so send the wrong signals. Aries, you still get no points from me. Oh goodness. Okay. So then they talk about with Kirsten told Shaquille that he has to buy her a house, right? And so all the guys pretty much were like, Shaquille handled that pretty well. Like he did the same thing that they probably would have done. And he swear that he knew she was joking about buying her that $3 million house. I'm just like, Shaquille, that is not how that came across my TV screen. Like, you really thought she was for real about that. And then Chris talking about, well, things has to be equal. Maybe do a 60-40, baby. No, how about 100-0? Kirsten said my name would be on the deed. Do you hear me? Chris, you stay in your line. That's why Nicole over there cash apping you for her part of her rent. So they discussed how the group felt about McKinley and Gina going out on a date. And Clint said, it's cool. He had no problem with it, especially since it happened after decision day. He was pretty much like, look, we're all big boys. If they end up getting married, I would be front and center at their wedding. And I think after that, they kind of just discussed how their DMs blew up after the show. Everybody pretty much was talking about some of the weirdest comments they've gotten in their DMs, and McKinley had somebody tell him, baby, they are ready to drink his bath water. And I'm just like, ugh. No. So the experts come out next. Dr. Pepper, Pastor Cal, Dr. Pia. Baby, Dr. Pia was looking fabulous in that wine red. I said, okay, boo. I wonder where Devon Franklin was, though. We did not see him. I mean, he did make an appearance this season. So where was he at the reunion? And then also, I was just thinking, too, like if Dr. Pia is now like a permanent fixture to the show, which it kind of seems that's what's happening. Like, I think last season their appearance were just like a friend to the show type of thing. Like, it was just They were not a permanent fixture. They were trying them out, kind of. I think was the thing for last season. But if Dr. P is there now and she's out on the couches with them at the reunion, well, where was she on decision day? Like, why was she not included in decision day activities? So I'm just curious. Things to make you go, Anyway, they're all out there talking to Kevin, and they talk about what it takes to actually match the couples, like the things that they look at, and but they also speak to how after they do things on their end and matching people that have the potential to be great together, then also it also takes work on the other end to make it happen. Like, meaning the two people that they match together have to be willing to put in the work. You know what I'm saying? So it can't just magically happen because they put the two people together. Like, it still takes work. Marriage is work anyway. Marriage is work. So Pastor Cal said that he was happy for the one success that they did had, but disappointed in what could have been many successes because of lack of commitment, stick-to-itiveness, and effort. So Dr. P was like, she was agreeing with that thing. She was like, yeah. And especially with the unrealistic expectations. That did have a lot of downfall with the couples. You know what I'm saying? Especially, I see that with Dom and McKinley and Shaquille and Kirsten. So they bring out Dom and McKinley. For whatever reason, they want them to get picked apart since they ended things 11 days in, right? They talk about how the two of them both feel like they did not get what they asked for, that they did not get matched to a good match, and how they blame the experts for that. So Dr. Pepper said, well, they matched them because they both were young, ambitious people. They both wanted to be married. They both wanted to have a family, and that they felt like they would fight for the relationship. They fought all right, not for the relationship. So Pastor Cal just commented, and he was just like, of course, this is a pressurized experiment, a pressurized commitment, and there is no real way to prepare the people what they're about to go through. Like, you could tell them all day, but until you actually live it, it's different. I kind of just told my good friend that her mom was on hospice, and she did just pass away a couple of weeks ago. And so even with you preparing your mind that, hey, I'm about to lose my parents, it's a whole different ball game when it actually happens. Even though you see they're sick and you don't want them to be in pain anymore, whole different ball game when it happens. So yeah, he was just saying there's no real way to prepare them. And so in this pressurized experiment, the pressure is either going to bring out the worst or it's going to bring out the best. And in the case of McKinley and Dom, it did not bring out the best of them. You know what I'm saying? So McKinley did admit that he told Dom to call him out on his stuff, and the thing was, he wanted to use that to grow. But Dom took that to a whole other level, calling him out, right? So Dom's, she didn't really think she was harsh, but everybody was just like, Dom. I mean, everybody, Dr. P, Pastor Cal, Dr. Pepper, Kevin, they were like, yeah, Dom, you were pretty hard on McKinley. And y'all, this is kind of when I saw Dom. This is when I saw it. Now, she did not drop any tears right here, but I saw her eyes get like glassy. And I think it was more like she didn't like hearing that she played a part in the demise of their marriage. Like, she wanted it to be all McKinley. All whatever McKinley did was the reason why things didn't work out. And now hearing that, hey, she was too hard, she could have been a little easier, taking things, been a little softer with him. I don't think she liked hearing it because it made her feel like she didn't do something right, like a failure. She basically, yeah, a failure, because she does end up saying that later on. And so Dr. Pepper just kind of told her that she was operating out of fear. She was operating from a place of fear because she saw that McKinley wasn't settled, and she wasn't sure if he was going to stay in Nashville. And McKinley really wasn't making it plain enough for Dom to feel secure in it. So she wanted, Dr. Pepper said she wanted to tell Dom just to calm down with all of that. And then with McKinley, she said she wanted him to stand up and draw some boundaries. She said, but there was just no collaboration between the two of them. And there wasn't. We saw that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she shut down and he shut down. Like, neither one of them were great communicators. And that can be a good communication is one of the biggest things in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? I always say that there are 5 C's and a T to a good relationship, or a great relationship. Okay, let me tell y'all. Now, communication is one of them. In no particular order. They're all fluid, right? So let me see if I can remember. So communication, Christ, creativity, compassion, and what's the other C? Commitment, of course. Yes. And then the T is time. You know what I'm saying? So to me, 5 C's and a T to every great relationship. So, hey, just a bit of advice. I mean, who I need. I'm just gonna put it out in the atmosphere though. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, after a while though, Dawn did start to cry. She let them tears go and fall out her eyes. And Dr. Pepper talked about how frustrating it could be that the two of them can now see the value in one another versus when they were married, because now that they are sitting down talking, communicating, they are able to see that value in one another. And so Dawn was just boo-hooing, and she was just saying that she really came in wanting it to work, and it does feel like a failure to her. But what I can say, like, what I loved about this was how they didn't leave her feeling like she was a failure, because even she said, like, watching things back and seeing how she responded to certain things just did not feel good to her. It made her feel sad. But all the experts, kind of just poured into her and said, it's not a failure. Failure equals growth. Look at it in that aspect. This is a growth moment. You know what I'm saying? And so Pastor Cal was in the background telling us, yep, you growing up. You growing up like she is a little girl. Yep, you growing up. Mama's baby growing up. Oh, but no, I did like that. How they reassure her, because that is the truth. You know what I'm saying? Take that and look at it with a growth mindset versus a failure mindset. So they bring out Kirsten and Shaquille. But before they come out, like, all of them are kind of talking, Kevin and the experts. They're just talking about how they feel about their whole situation, right? And Dr. P was like, bring them all out, baby, because I got questions. Dr. P is like, I'm sick of them. I'm not having it. So anyway, Dr. Pepper, on the other hand, over there telling us, nope, I'm glad he got regrets. Dr. Pepper, aren't you glad he got the regrets, man? So they come on now. This is where we kind of learned that they intentionally did not dress alike. There was kind of like a fluke thing, because I think it was Dr. Pepper said something about them dressing alike. And Kirsten was like, no, it was not intentional. So they talk about Shaquille feeling that he wasn't good enough. And Dr. Pepper asked Kirsten straight up, like, do you feel like he was enough? And so Kirsten goes on this whole soliloquy about how she did what she did to make him feel like he was enough, and how she would tell him and reassure him. So Dr. Pepper said, well, why is everything that you're saying past tense? Like, why is everything in the past? Like, why can we not move forward? So Shaquille said he thinks that they can move forward on a better foot, like getting past their past, and and that they will be able to keep going, even if it's just a friendship. Like, he kept saying that too, even if it's just a friendship. And I feel like in that, he's trying to protect himself. Like, he's saying he wants her, but he will be happy with a friendship. No, say you want this to end in marriage, and that's what you want. Not like, I want this to end in marriage, but even if it's just a friendship. Like, to me, that's him saying or telling himself he's not good enough for what he really want his end goal to be, which is the marriage. So that he will settle for something less than what he really wants, because he's not feeling like he's good enough. So to me, that's still coming across. He's not feeling like he's good enough, because this whole part two, every time the two of them came on, like, they were literally had to pull stuff out of Shaquille. Like, Shaquille, just say what it is that you want and stand firm in it. But he's not doing that. So anyway, Kirsten says she doesn't know if Shaquille is being genuine about what he's feeling and if he's real about moving forward. Y'all, so for the first time ever, we see Kirsten get so emotional. Well, I take the bed, because we saw her when she came back to their apartment, baby. She said, oh, goodness. Okay, but this is the first time we kind of just see her get all teary-eyed, and she got her little tissue and she was, dabbing them eyes. So she really did care about him. Like, didn't I tell y'all those tables had flipped? I don't know why or how or when, but they flipped, and she gave him whiplash, because baby, she went from a hard no to a all the way yes. So they did point out how she's hurt and she's afraid to be vulnerable with him now, because he rejected her, and not only did he reject her, but he did it on national TV. So Pastor Cal said somebody has to initiate. Somebody has to be willing to say, okay, let's cross this line. I want this. Let's do this. Kirsten, so he asked Kirsten, like, how would you feel if Shaquille said those things? And she said it would feel great. And y'all, why everybody got quiet waiting for Shaquille to say something along those lines, and he said absolutely nothing? It was silence, like his butt was on mute. So Dr. Pepper speaks up, and she's just like, well, since you're the one to say no on decision day, it's going to have to be you and your courage to step up. Baby, Dr. Pepper was just like, you're going to have to give her hope and strength to move forward. He gonna say he doesn't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to tell her I want to move forward. How do I reassure her and tell her I need her, I want her in my life? Everybody was like, just like that. You just said it. Those were the words. Now look at her and tell her those things. And y'all, he still didn't come back and just tell her that I want you. I want you. So he finally did apologize for hurting her. And then he wants to sit down and have a conversation about moving forward. So they also end up encouraging Kirsten to tell Shaquille exactly how she feels and what she needs for a repair to happen. And I said, exactly. These people got to be straight up, period, point in the blank. So she tells him that she's not anything to play with, and she needs to know that he's serious because she doesn't want to be in a place where her emotions are all over the place again, and she wants a marriage and wants it to work out. Oh, and that if he wants a marriage and wants it to work out, that she needs to hear that she is just she needs to hear that, basically. She wants to know that he's 100% being honest with her. She just wants the truth, basically, is what she was saying. Just the truth, the honest truth, you know. So all the couples come back out for the ending. They bring up that kiss between Dom and Clint, Kevin trying to make it a big deal, talking about it was all steamy. No sir, it was not. Clint and Dom both were like, they lost the bet, that's it, that's all. So they talk about Nicole always leading the group. And some of them talk about how it would get on their nerves. Like, Shaquille was like, say he would be like, sometimes Chris, come get your wife. But they all pretty much know that she's coming from a good place. It's Nicole being Nicole. She has everyone's best intentions at heart. And so Nicole was just like, they talk about how she got to be that person, right? And Nicole was pretty much like, hey, it's my personality for one. And two, somebody had to do it and nobody was stepping up, so she did it. Insert Shaquille and Kirsten over there all cuddled up on their little couch doing this segment of the show, and they're still being a real touchy-feely with each other. I said, okay. So then the conversation shifts to Shaquille and Kirsten not telling the people that they had consummated their marriage. Y'all, to go back to that night when Shaquille was like, I consummated. Oh, goodness. So, anyway, we see never before seen footage of the girls, right, getting on to Kirsten for not telling them, right? Like, they were going in on her, baby. So, they kind of led into Shaquille and Kirsten telling the group about what they just talked to the experts about, as far as them gonna try to see where they are now, if there is any possibility of them getting back together. So Kevin was trying to get them to say that they want to be together for sure in a marriage, and they were not saying it, either one of them. So Nicole just finally told Kevin, listen, you got to let them do things in their own time. Leave them alone and let them figure it out on their own, right? And I'm like, yes, please, because we already see Shaquille kind of, anyway. So that was that. Oh, then we see some more we saw a lot of never before seen footage in this segment. So we see footage of Aries and Jasmine. He was being a ventriloquist, Aries was, and he was using Jasmine as his doll. And so this was actually funny, y'all. So he was imitating some of their castmates, like Clint, and I think they did Kirsten and Shaquille, while Jasmine was the one moving her mouth as he was talking. Y'all, it was funny. It really was funny. And so kind of find out that they end up doing it because when they were going on the couples retreat, right, they decided they needed two things to happen. So they had already said they were going to do the pageant. So they came up with doing a talent show. And so Eric said he didn't really have no talent. He can't sing, he can't dance, you know. So they came up with doing this act. Him being a ventriloquist and her being a doll. It was cute. It was cute and funny. So then Shaquille and Kirsten, they gonna end up doing one like right then and there on the spot. I said, he just wanted any reason for Kirsten to get in their lap. Cause baby, like when did I don't know if I said this, but when Aries and Jasmine did it, Aries had Jasmine sit in his lap. Like, you know how the people be doing the ventriloquist and they have their dolls sitting on their lap. So he had Jasmine sitting in his lap. I said, Kirsten just wanted, Shaquille just wanted any reason for Kirsten to come on over there and sit in his lap. So they do one and they imitate Aries and Jasmine, right? Theirs really wasn't that funny, but whatever. So anyway, Kevin ends up bringing up Clint and Hank's special relationship, and we just see clips of the two of them throughout the entire season. It was actually sweet, y'all. I didn't really realize how many clips of them we've actually seen over the season together, but it was a lot, you know what I'm saying? And Clint actually got teary-eyed. He teared up or whatever. I think he really does miss Hank. He said that he pretty much was saying that Hank was like his emotional support animal or something along those lines during that period of time, because it was difficult. It was a tough time, and that Hank just helped him get through the process better. So we find out though Clint still does not have another dog at this point. Hank was special. He was a special one, so it's kind of hard to follow a special somebody special. It is. So anyway, they end up ending showing, like I said, some more behind the scene footage of all the couples. It was just like funny stuff, bloopers that may have happened, and they just kind of wanted to lighten the mood back up, but it really wasn't anything to talk about. Let me see. Dom mentioned that they showed like clips from the party they had, the birthday party they had at the couples retreat. And so Dom's is like, oh, I wished I was able to go on the couples retreat. Like, why, girl? Oh, that was pretty much it. The end on the note of what have you learned from this experience? What areas have you grown? And they kind of just went around the room and everybody just kind of spoke to that. And that was pretty much it, y'all. I think we got one more. If there's anything else after this, I shall not be reviewing it. But we got the Where Are They Now update next week. So I will do that one, but anything beyond that, that's it. I hope that's it anyway. So, then we got a sneak preview of the upcoming season, which is in, child, I forget. Was it Denver? I feel like that's not right, but it could be. It's somewhere cold. Is it Denver? Yeah, I don't know. Don't let me lie. But we got a sneak peek of that. Of course, they didn't show anybody faces. I ain't see too many. I want to say I only saw like one black chick. I don't know. But anyway, we shall see. Y'all, what did y'all think about the ending? Part 2 to the reunion. The reunion kind of flopped for me. Like part 1 and part 2. It was not anything big. I think had they not did all of those filler episodes before, it would have been more interesting. But yeah, it was nothing. Anyway, I want to know your thoughts. What did y'all think? What did y'all think of the whole season? You know what I'm saying? I think at the very beginning, I predicted that Nicole and Chris would stay together. And look, I don't even remember who else. Baby, that seemed like about 15 years ago. So, anyway, that's all I get, y'all. I pray for y'all. Y'all pray for me. And what? Bye.